So friends, moving on, some of the Scrum events we have. Sprint, daily sprint, review, retrospective. Sprints, as we said, are generally 1 to 4 weeks. Once you start the sprint, you cannot change the duration. Suddenly you started a 4-week sprint and say in the middle of it, now it's changed to 1 week. You cannot do that. You cannot generally cancel it. If something has changed in the market, something big has happened, then of course it is. But in the normal conduct of business, you don't want to change, cancel sprints.
What happened if there is a story that find a major blocker and cannot be completed?
I'm sorry, the story finds a major flaw.
Major blocker.
Blocker, when you say blocker, what do you mean?
Technical blocker, like you cannot complete, like you find some kind of impediment.
That's okay. That's a very good question, friends. You figured out that this story should be completed in this given sprint. In the discussions during the sprint planning meeting, you agreed for it and the team committed for it in the sprint goal. Now when you start working on it, you figure out, hey man, this is not this is actually this, right? Now there are two sides. One is that it's not true, the second it is true. Assuming that it is the second side, then the thing is that's okay. The dev team can surrender that story and pick up another story from the backlog, right? That's the Scrum.
And then refine the
backlog.
Not only that, even the forecasting and estimation is one.
Mm-hmm.
Probably they didn't keep track of prospective risks at that level.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have tracked from a risk perspective and forecast appropriately, then the mitigation and the plans that they would have given in the initial forecast should have had some sort of buffer to take care of some issues. So my personal experience is if you have risks and prospective forecasting time frames with some buffer in terms of time, that could also help.
Very good. Generally in Scrum, we don't keep buffers for anything. And product backlog grooming is one term we have, which can be 10% of the time of the sprint. For such discussion, for example, he figured out this requirement which is huge. It's not a story, it's an epic, right? And this needs to be moved on to the next sprint. So then it's okay, but the team needs to pick up something else and get that done.
I have a question. So there are a lot of material online for Scrum. Anyone can study. Okay? I can study, you can study, anyone can study. What is the difference when you actually take a Scrum Master training? What is the difference? What you get out of it?
The certification.
Just the certificate?
And the two things, the certification, what I'm talking here is covered, even Tabitha will tell you because she sits in these classes all day.
I'm a certified Scrum.
She's almost certified. She doesn't have the certificate, but she can tell you all these concepts because she's sitting day in and day out. Today she was sitting whole day in San Francisco. Yesterday she was sitting there. So she has all the knowledge. Now these classes, two things they bring. Number one, they bring CSM classes bring the knowledge of these certified Scrum trainers. The good thing is that a lot of these trainers are very, very good in terms of what they do. There are only 80 of them in America. 80. Yeah, it's very difficult to find them. Ask her. So, and they charge a little bit money, so.
People don't believe that you know it.
So
How many education for trainer also?
It's not easy. It takes time to learn and understand and be a part of the community.
So that means once you become certified Scrum Master, you are the cream of the crop. You can get jobs easily, right?
The certified Scrum Master, there are a lot now, like 500,000 in the market, and you have a fair understanding of Scrum, how it works. You are certified to go and implement it in your teams, or if you're already implementing that, have a holistic picture, because a lot of people just do one piece or a little bit piece here and there. So I think that's the goal. You're not like in 2 days class, how can you become like a master, a kung fu master? You cannot become a kung fu master in 2 days.
And employers can assume that you have read the material at least.
Yeah, because the trainer has to certify them for 2 days fully, 9 to 5, 8 hours, 16 hours, and got your certificate.
There's an exam.
And there's an exam at the end of it. There's 35 questions and you have to get 24. questions. And I haven't seen many people failing in that, so I would say 95%, 99% people pass. So it's not a very tough exam. But yeah, I think, and again, the Scrum Alliance is pretty open about this. They say this is just a learning point. It's not a test. Again, we don't believe in this concept of testing people, right? People will learn, inspect and adapt. People will learn, evolve, grow as they go on in their journey. So I think it's a very open mindset from them. So sprint planning, in a month, if you have a month-long sprint, you can spend one day and figure out what you will do, how you will do, and set the sprint goal. And once the team commits to that goal, generally the expectation is that the team is not going to change it, right? And fulfill that commitment. Because if they do that, then it builds the confidence between the team and the product owner and the stakeholders. So it's a two-way traffic in Scrum, friends. But it's a good framework to help have a very fun, loving environment and still do work. How many of you enjoy Scrum? Be honest. Okay. How many of you hate Scrum the way it is being implemented in your company? Both times you raised your hand.
I'm trying to improve it. So right now they don't. I've just joined this company GE, and they don't do demos. It's like the Scrum is kind of broken.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to.
So friend, that's a very valid point. As I said, it's not easy for a company to practice Scrum. Much like it's not easy for a small child, 3 years old, 5 years old, to run without falling. You know. So, but as the child grows, becomes 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, they'll learn how to run faster without falling.
I'll commit on that. If you're planning to have Scrum in your projects, I'm a project manager, by the way. The best way to do that is try to choose a very easy project, a small project where you know everything. First of all, you should know the project really well. You are like a product owner and project manager both for that. Find a very easy project, try to go with that. If you implement really good Scrum in that, you will eventually can go on a medium level project. That's the best way to do it.
Well, that's actually the philosophy of Scrum, and this philosophy is don't believe in a big bang approach. The big bang approaches mostly fail. So start with something humble. Like I said, pick up something very small and just test it.
Yes.
And if that works, then start spreading it.
Yeah.
So that way your risk is less, because hey, if that fails, you can still walk away from it or improve. But if you're doing a big bang adoption, that could be a challenge.
But here is a thing to watch. When you are trying to first time introduce Scrum in an environment where there is no Scrum, oftentimes management say, hey, you know, this is a low priority project, let's give that for the transformation. Because by nature it's low priority, people are not paying attention to it. So try to stay away from that. Yes, small, agreed, but there should be funding and sponsorship and commitment and priority to.
I think I agree to your point that there's a difference between the word small and there's a difference between the word priority. It can be small but very high priority, right? So let's say small but high priority project, because if it is successful, it immediately will give you visibility in the enterprise, right? And it will help you in successful future implementations. And then you have a daily sprint, 15 minutes. Again, in companies, how much time we spend on long meetings and then you don't get anything out of those meetings? So the answer is 15 minutes every day. Everybody get together, tell me what you did yesterday, tell what you're doing today, what is blocking you, so that we can try and help you. And if you say that, everybody will speak 1 minute, 2 minutes. If it comes to Sunil, he might take 12 minutes out of 15. But the idea is that everybody in the team speak, and that's why it is important that every team member talks, right? Because sometimes some people, either don't like to talk or are shy or have nothing to talk. But we want to give an opportunity to everybody, so not only they come forth with their ideas, but we learn what they're doing or what challenges we are facing. So it's a very positive spin to it. It's not a negative thing that, hey, now everybody wants to know what I'm doing suddenly. Some people don't like this idea. Who doesn't like this idea? 15 minutes meeting. Anybody here? So sprint, at the end of the sprint review, what happened, spend half a day, team demos the work what they've finished, the stakeholders inspect and accept, and this is not a very formal meeting, it is an informal meeting. It's not a status report kind of a thing, it is chit chat, it is informal. There's no pressure that somebody is going to get fired today. That's not the idea. And then the team meets half a day in a sprint. So what went right, what went wrong, how do we improve in the future? That's the idea. Future is always a problem, right? How do you fix it? So I was trying to think when he was talking projection versus estimation. So estimate is a journey into the future, right?